Small businesses are among the biggest driving forces in the labor market, and the recession hit them hard. Here to tell us how they've done in 2011 and their outlook in 2012 is Brian Hamilton. He is CEO of financial analysis firm Sageworks. Brian, welcome.
Great to be here.
Now, Sageworks just came out with its assessment of small business performance in 2011. Quickly, how does the scorecard read?
The big picture is very good right now. Revenues are up and profit margins are up and profits are up. So for 2011, things were definitely good.
What accounted for the good performance?
Well, it's a great question.
The economy was lousy.
It's a great question. Well, that's a good question, and we have to look at that objectively. GDP is growing. It's anemic, you know that, but it's growing, and privately held company revenue has started to tick up over the last 12 months. So generally, it's probably cyclical, and things are just getting a little bit better right now.
I see. Now, what's going to be the impact of those positive numbers that we heard from the unemployment report last Friday?
That's funny. Everyone asks that, and we don't know, Fred. We really don't know. But historically, as revenues go up, as margins improve, as profits go up, these companies will eventually hire people. We don't know exactly when, but we're about 12 or 14 months into the privately held company recovery. So we expect that hopefully they'll start to do that soon.
So we're 12 to 14 months in. Traditionally or historically, at what point do they start hiring?
Yeah, that's another great question. It depends. I'm dating myself a little bit here. Back in the early 70s, you might remember that.
I prefer the data.
Okay, there you go. But there's about a 33-month lag between when things got better and companies started to hire. There were other things going on politically that made it sort of a mess. But generally, the mean average is about 15, 16 months. So the point is things get better, but then these companies do hire eventually.
So judging by that, are we close to a turning point? You were saying we're 14 months in.
Yeah, it's hard to be predictive. It really is. We don't know for sure. However, as revenues go up, you know, there's a point at which these companies will hire.
All right, well, let's take a look at 2012.
Sure.
This year. What's the outlook for small businesses?
The outlook we think is going to be pretty positive. Right now, we've looked back about 12 months. The revenues are up, profit margins are up, profits are up. Once the U.S. economy starts to move, Fred, it tends to move like a glacier, right? There are a lot of factors that have to go in reverse to reverse it. So unless there's some type of, newfound economic aberration, we expect that the recovery should continue for privately held companies. You never know. There's a big mess in Washington, you know that. There's tax policy issue debates. There's a lot going on there. It's an election year. But we'd be surprised if there was a cataclysmic move backward.
Any particular sectors overall that when you say it's looking pretty positive?
Sure. We track 1,400 industries. It's interesting because 2 years ago, of those 1,400 industries, there were about only 16 that were doing well. Right now, of the 1,400, there are very few that are suffering. Most have recovered a little bit. The big ones, of course, the most notable ones being retail, because that affects a lot of jobs. And even, by the way, even surprising, there are little hints that even the real estate sectors are starting to get better, which, hallelujah, we could use.
Yeah. And lastly, you mentioned the election earlier. We certainly are in an election year. Is that going to have a big impact on small businesses?
Well, we don't know. Here's the one thing. This is what I would say to Washington, okay? Even if you come up with bad policy, right? If these business owners know what the policy is, they can plan their businesses, they can do their forecasts, they can plan around Washington, D.C. The big issue right now is people don't know what's coming at them. And I don't mean just tax policy, by the way. I mean just generally what's coming at them. So news to Washington is, let's get a coherent policy together, both sides, Democrat, Republican, and let these business owners plan, and they should be okay.
You want certainty.
Right.
All right, thanks a lot, Brian. Our thanks to Brian Hamilton. He's the CEO of Sageworks. I'm Fred Katayama, and this is Reuters.